Tonight at 5 o'clock, we're learning that Indiana state Republicans now are planning to caucus later this week. They are not confirming the reason for that meeting with us at this hour.
But it comes as the governor considers whether to call a special session to redraw our congressional districts. And as Jenna Webster reports, redistricting opposition is not quieting down.
Now, Governor Braun has told us he is waiting to hear from state lawmakers about if they think redrawing the maps is the way to go. But several groups are hoping some petitions will help influence that decision.
Thank you so much.
At first glance, it's just a blue wagon. But at the State House,
Hello. Petition signatures.
democracy organizations wanted to send a message.
Every piece of paper in there represents the roughly 9,000 Hoosiers that have taken action.
Petitions against redistricting delivered to the Senate, House, and governor's office.
We have every county, every state Senate district, every state House district represented of folks who have said that they're against redistricting mid-cycle and that they think the legislature should focus on other things like making their lives better.
Megan Robertson is with the Indiana Conservation Voters, part of the coalition who collected signatures.
So what we have is letters.
Dear Governor Braun, a letter reads outside his office. Hoosiers play fair, it emphasizes throughout. It's just the latest call we've seen against redistricting, from rallies to billboards.
You are pretty much telling Hoosier voters, we don't care what you think. Don't bother to show up. Just stay home because we've already decided who is going to represent you. If you want to make voters angry, that's the way to do it.
Julia Vaughn with Common Cause Indiana is concerned about lawmakers drawing a map that turns all 9 congressional districts red. A potential mid-cycle redrawing, they say, is just wrong.
While they're hearing such a strong message from Washington, D.C. and politicians that are trying to pick their voters instead of letting the voters pick them, they need to hear that, Hoosiers aren't for this. Thanks so much.
They say the petitions aren't just about hearing the opposition, but seeing it, too. At the State House, Jenna Webster, 13 News.
We've seen several states take up the issue of redistricting over the last couple of months.
It's part of President Trump's strategy to keep Republicans in control of the U.S. House. Missouri is one of the most recent to address redrawing congressional maps. This afternoon, the Republican-led House approved a redistricting plan which would give the GOP control of nearly all congressional districts. The bill now moves to the Senate.
Now, Texas was the first state to take up this issue. That debate there lasted 6 weeks, and it was just last week that they ended their second special session on this matter. It came days after the governor of Texas signed their new congressional map into law.
Tonight, the White House is criticizing an Israeli strike on Hamas leadership.
The attack this morning took place in the Hamas headquarters that's located in Qatar. And this move may have hurt negotiations for a ceasefire in Gaza. Von Hilliard reports.
Israel launching a strike on Hamas leadership in Qatar as heads of the terrorist group were considering a U.S. proposed ceasefire for the war in Gaza. Qatar immediately called the attack cowardly and illegal. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying the U.S. military notified the president of the incoming attack shortly before the strike.
The president views Qatar as a strong ally and friend of the United States and feels very badly about the location of this attack.
The attack leaves Gaza ceasefire talks in limbo. Leavitt saying the strike was not in the best interests of furthering peace. Just 48 hours after President Trump suggested he was giving Hamas its, quote, last warning. Qatar has been mediating the negotiations for months, and Hamas was in the country because the U.S. asked for a neutral site for meetings. Immediately after the strike, Israel took full responsibility. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu authorized the attack after yesterday's shooting at a Jerusalem bus stop that killed 6 people, and saying it was justified because the leadership organized the October 7, 2023 raid that killed more than 1,000 people. Hamas took more than 200 people hostage and still hold about 20 hostages still believed to be alive. Families of those hostages angry at Netanyahu, saying this attack puts their loved ones in jeopardy.
If the deal is off the table, that crushes the hopes of all of the families. It's just, it's devastating.
And this attack could complicate the relations between the U.S. and Qatar. The country is home to the largest U.S. military installation in the region. The White House calling it a close ally today. Trump visited Doha in the spring, and the emir gave him a luxury jet to be used as Air Force One. Late this afternoon, in a statement, Hamas said that no actual member of its negotiating delegation was killed in the strikes. Before taking office, President Trump said that he would bring an end to the war in Gaza, but in the months since, that end has remained elusive. In Washington, Vaughn Hilliard, NBC News.
And our coverage of the Israeli strike on Hamas will continue on NBC Nightly News with Tom Llamas this evening. Richard Engel will report from Jerusalem with the latest on the situation that's been developing all day. Again, you can watch his report at 6:30 right here on Channel 13 tonight.
Developing tonight at 5 o'clock, a former Madison County councilman who's accused of child sex crimes now is under arrest at this hour after spending the last 2 years out on the run. Stephen Sumner was once a pastor in Anderson, and investigators say that he spent the last 2 years on the run, and they were trying to find him after he didn't show up for a court hearing on 18 charges that include rape and sexual misconduct with a child. The Madison County Sheriff's Department issued a statement saying that U.S. Marshals were able to take him into custody near Winchester, Kentucky this week after finding a car that they later learned he was driving.
Tonight, the Avon Community School Corporation is informing families and staff of a gun found at an elementary school. The superintendent's message to families says a staff member at Hickory Elementary found a gun in a handbag. The bag was in a secure staff closet in their classroom, and they did not know who it belonged to, so they opened it to find an ID. Avon police were called in to investigate, and they discovered it belonged to a support staff member who accidentally left it in their bag. The school corporation has now fired the support staff member.
Another sunny, mild September day for central Indiana. We were in the 70s again today, but expected to be about a handful of degrees warmer compared to yesterday. Yesterday, we were in the low 70s. Today, upper 70s. So yes, we're up 5 in Indianapolis. 24-hour temperature change on the positive side. 4 degrees in Bloomington, Columbus, Kokomo, and Greencastle. We're up 5 in Richmond as well. It is going to be mild this evening. Temperatures right now, middle and upper 70s. 78 Terre Haute, 77 Bloomington, 76 in Indianapolis, and 77 with sunshine in Muncie. We have baseball downtown Indianapolis. We have basketball as well. If you're coming downtown for Victory Field, last homestand of the season, 6:35 first pitch. Temperatures will be in the 70s. Might need a sweatshirt or a light jacket once the sun goes down. Our Fever at home, a mild evening for that 7:30 tip.
We've heard of TED Talks. Well, tonight is the start of a new sports-focused conference right here in Indy, and it's called TED Sports.
And our Rich Knight joins us live from the conference, bringing hundreds of athletes and leaders in sports to our city. Rich, what are you seeing?
Well, you've probably heard of TED Talks. Maybe you've even watched one, listened to one. And this is that same organization, but the talk here is all about sports. We have sports leaders, executives, elite performers all gathered here at Old National Center over 3 days to talk about big ideas, brainstorming about the future of sports, sharing those ideas. And for the first time, this first ever event is right here in Indianapolis. Let's take you inside to the first session out on that TED stage, which just started about an hour ago. More than 600 people are registered to attend, and they'll hear presentations from speakers from all over the world with inspiring sports stories, innovations, and thoughts on how to perform at your best. There are also breakout workshops and panel discussions. And some of the sessions include a focus on mental health for athletes and how women are driving sports forward. And that's something we certainly have seen here in Indianapolis, right? With the explosion in popularity and the following for Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. And tonight at 6, I'm going to tell you about a new research initiative just announced here at TED Sports, which will focus on the performance of female athletes. I'll have that for you coming up tonight at 6 o'clock.